Welcome, April.
What's up, lady? Rock and roll.
Okay, please tell everybody who you are and what you do.
I am April Jones. I'm a filmmaker, skateboarder, artist, musician, just, generally a lover of life. I love experiences and just like hanging out with rad people and going on road trips. And yeah,
And what do you play in your band? And what is your band
I, I play a flying V,
called?
Jackson,
Gorgeous.
yeah, guitar, rhythm guitar. So yeah, I played thrash metal band Shoebox Jones, and I had another band in Portland called Hectic Shock, and we ruled the pit in Portland.
Amazing. Somebody's got to do it. Glad it was you.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, Shoebox Jones sounds so good. I was listening to it and chatting with you about it before about that vocal style you have that's really awesome, unique, I think kind of early 60s sounding. And you said that your vocal inspiration was
We'll have a few, but
oh,
the Wicked Witch is the best.
that's the one you told me, but I want to know all the other ones too.
Okay, cool. Well, no, it's interesting you say 60s area because I love like Janis Joplin and that grittiness and just
Mm.
the rawness, of it
Yeah.
all. But growing up watching these, like Disney and like kid films and then Wizard of Oz and like, here, I'll get you, my pretty. Like it's so cool.
It is. It's like super theatrical. There's all those like um up slides that you do are what make me think of like early Coven and the Hawaiian Vixen, not the LA Vixen, but the Hawaiian one. So those like 60s heavy rock bands. And yeah, and definitely when you said the Wicked Witch of the West, I was like, oh, of course. Love
Yeah.
it. So when did you first realize that you loved rock or metal music and that you wanted to create more of it?
Well, I grew up into music. My mom loved music. Part of the reason I was named April was after a 70s rock band called April Wine.
Huh.
And so total rocker. So I just grew up into music. It wasn't really a decision process. It's like, do you decide to eat or breathe?
Hmm.
Metal finds you. So I just like grew up into that early rock and then kind of progressed from there and I started exploring music at a really young age.
Oh my gosh.
I would actually take my mom's cassette tapes and then like make mixtapes. Actually, I have a mixtape right here.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh, what's on it?
this is an old one. Yeah, Testament, Venom, Merciful Fate, Anthrax, Lone Ranger, Blitzkrieg, Overkill, Hyrax, Exciter, Hyrax. What up, Quinn?
Nice, nice. Also really great plasmatic shirt that you are wearing there. Yes, the shock rock queen, Wendy O. Williams. I love it. We look really good today, April.
Yeah. What's up?
We're just out here representing. Oh my gosh, I'm already so distracted talking to you because I know that you do a million cool things, and I'm just like, what's that? What's that? What's that? And then you got that giant thing back there that we're gonna play with later. So okay, but I shall do the questions. If your music were a movie soundtrack, what would the movie be about?
So the first thing I thought of when I saw this question was Wayne's World, of course,
Cool.
especially since I had like a heavy metal public access TV series back in the day when like TV was a real thing. And so I was like, okay, soundtrack, Wayne's Worlds. Um, but I think the soundtrack would be like my own music because I write about my experiences, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, we all do, but one song in particular, it's called "The Bulldozer's Blade," and
Oh,
it's written in the eyes of a bulldozer who is seeking to destroy DIY skate parks, which is
mm-hmm.
in direct correlation with my film.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like that's how also closely like music and film and visual storytelling is all connected. So I think naturally I just write my own soundtrack.
Oh my gosh. Well, okay, so that makes me want to jump ahead to talking about the film. And also just I wanted to say I relate to that because like my paintings are about rock goddesses and then like I talk to as many of them as I can and then like the paintings become about the people that I'm talking to and then like I'll do a sculpture of one and then the sculpture turns into a painting. So I totally relate to what you're saying. It's like all very integrated at a certain point. But the film, you're taking the film on tour. Where are people going to see screenings of the film? And tell us more about the film.
Okay, the film is called Concrete Law, and it really covers DIY skate parks and community built skate parks at a time when there were no skate parks. So, like decades later, cities are finding out about these skate parks. They're like, what is this thing? What is it doing here? And skateboarders are like, it's been here this whole time. So, there was this whole like movement and DIY skate park boom that erupted in the 90s, one in Philadelphia. FDR, shout
Ooh.
out. But so the film dives into one particular battle to save a skate park. It was closed for 7 years and we won.
Oh,
So
yeah.
yeah, I moved here about year two as it was closed down. So I kind of jumped in to help. And so the film kicks off a world's premiere in Helsinki, Finland in 2 weeks
Oh my
at the
gosh.
at the Night Visions Film Festival.
You are going to have so much fun doing that. That's amazing. Okay. Like, what is it like to be at your own film premiere? Is that something that you've already experienced? Is this the first time?
No, so well, it is, of course, nerves are high. And I'm just like, I have to like sit in the very back. I can't be like, but no, it'll be cool. I'm super excited. It's really good. It's my second feature film, and I can tell my progress, even in music, right? Like you listen to your earlier stuff and you can
Mm.
really see how you progress. And this is like 10 times better than I
Mm.
mean, as far as the quality and the editing, the storytelling, but we're turning the film's premiere into an impact campaign to help save the community built skate park there.
Amazing.
It's been there for about a decade, maybe a little over, and the city wants to replace it with an entertainment center for like families and culture. And we're like, this is what that is
Yeah,
exactly.
that's what I was thinking. I was like, don't they already
It is
have that?
a cultural hub.
Yeah, like an authentic one too. People go
So
there
I
to get things. You can take your
so
kid.
yeah. Yeah, it's like kids go there, right? So,
Yeah,
and like, people paint there. Anyways, I think Helsinki isn't Helsinki the heavy metal capital of the world?
that sounds right to me because I know they have the most metalheads per capita based on like Spotify listeners' location data specifically.
And the Tesca Fest. So you're familiar with the Tesca Fest? It's like okay, it's a big heavy metal festival. Anyways, that location is where the skate park is, where they
Oh,
have the big heavy metal Tesca Fest. So it's all this like cultural hub. And we're like, dude, like we can save this. So me and the locals have been just brainstorming and like figuring out who can positively influence the city that can
mm.
represent the skateboarders, because they don't we'll say anything.
Mhm.
Um, there's no common like bond there, like they don't take skateboarders seriously sometimes. So we're kind of figuring out an impact campaign for skate park advocacy, really. So I'm gonna go raise some hell.
That's amazing. I hope you get to wear like a I don't know why this matters, but like a monochromatic two-piece suit, sort of the way that Hillary Clinton would, because she do be having those suits. And I don't know. Anyway, what else would you wear?
Wearing
So,
my Motorhead jacket. That's what I wear. My Motorhead blazer. Walking.
oh my gosh. Okay, my like art teacher side came out hard on that one. But anyway, so okay, now jumping backwards, if you could play a world tour with any three bands alive today, who would you choose? And is there any city you'd like to play most of all?
Um, well, I drive an 86 Toyota, so technically I have a time machine. So I would probably pick Janis Joplin,
Oh,
Wendy O, and
uh-huh.
Dawn Crosby from Détente.
Oh, okay.
Hey, if like time didn't exist,
Oh man,
all
imagine
get
seeing Janis
together.
Joplin and Wendy O at the same time.
Janis Joplin, Wendy O, and Dawn Crosby from Détente.
Wow.
So
Love this lineup. And what would the city be for like maybe like the grand finale of the world tour?
I don't know, maybe Helsinki.
That makes sense. If
Yeah,
you could collect any three vinyl records of all time, what would you like to have?
thinking about that, and you know, the really old sound, like the textured grittiness of like the vinyl, and like who would be just sound so
Hmm.
raw. And I was thinking, some like the first thing that came to mind was some like fucking Howlin' Wolf, you know,
Hmm.
some old like blues, like real raw shit.
Hmm.
And then I was like, it'd be cool to hear some like Elf on
Oh,
old vinyl, some
hmm.
Dio's early
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah.
right? It
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
was
with Dio was
fun.
on bass. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was jolly and like that
Yeah.
would be
It
really
was
cool.
very like barber shop in its harmonies.
Yeah, a little bit. I think there's even a song, it's an instrumental. I think it's called like I'm Sad or something, but it's the jolliest song. I'll be out like dancing around the house cleaning.
Oh
It's
my
fun.
God. That does sound like a record you should have. Everybody look out for
Yeah.
that Elf record. And what's the third?
I think I will go with Détente again because Anne Crosby was such a huge metal vocalist for the thrash scene, and she died in like the early mid 90s. So there's a lot of rare stuff. Sometimes you can find like rare recordings on YouTube.
Hmm.
Uh,
Okay.
but yeah, it was there's not a ton of work, but she's so influential and like so underground, you know, and I love digging deep into the underground.
Amazing. Amazing choices. Okay, so uh looking back on all these different things, because I understand that like you're quite big in the skateboard scene too. And then there's Shoebox Jones, which is awesome, and I think everybody should listen to. And you have now you're doing your second film premiere, it sounds like. And like advocacy for community creative spaces. And you also are doing murals with like a mentorship program with creating murals. Okay, tell me
Yes.
about that. That sounds so amazing.
Okay, cool. So with the skateboarding, I grew up skating. So I grew up skateboarding, but I didn't really get into it till I was like maybe 12. Like junior high hit, I'm not walking to school and I don't have a bicycle. I have this crusty skateboard. So I'm skating to school and back. So about 30 years now I've been skating. So it's just like I just grew up in that too. So you know, it's just the film and the whole skate advocacy thing was super important to me. You know, I grew up in DIY, so it has a strong place in my heart. But
Mhm.
so when I started making the film and doing the skate advocacy, I started writing grants, and there's a
Mhm.
lot of grants for community engagements. There's a lot of grants for beautification projects, which is just
Mm,
a mural, you know, like you want to
mhm,
do a mural at a skate park, just like write a little thing about it, call it something, and then
mm,
propose it and pitch it to like a grant. Like you can win like really small grants, like
mhm,
$5 to $1,000. So with the skate advocacy in the film, I was volunteering for the Channel Street Skate Park, writing grants and getting us funding. And so recently I won a grant for us for Earth Day. We're doing like an Earth Day event and we're going to do a mural. And we won another grant from the neighborhood council. And so my friend's daughter, who's 15, and her best friend, they had won some awards already in the town. They're really
mhm.
good artists. Like they won awards at their school and everything from the Arts Commission. And
Yeah.
so I was like, have they ever done a mural? And
Congrats to those girls, by the way. Congrats to those girls.
yeah, and their mom was like, I don't think, no, they've never done a mural. I was like, do they want to learn? You know, I mean, it's not going to be a huge thing, but it's going to be like a solid, you know, like
Mhm.
circular. We got together and brainstormed. So yeah, it's just super fun to like collaborate. And I think just growing up, being socially like in the scenes, and like all the communities, art, music, skateboarding, like nonprofit theater. I used to do theater as a kid, so that was fun, little theater nerd. No wonder I like Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, that's so cool. And like what the work that you're doing, like taking up the mantle to show these young girls that they can get grants, that they can make murals, that they can impact their community is going to ripple forward, and that is amazing, beautiful work. So snaps for you too. Love that.
It's important that we like uplift each other.
Yeah, and like, gosh, that is so cool. I appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'll send you a picture when the mural's done. We're gonna do it this
Oh,
weekend.
please do. Please do. I want to be involved. How can I come out there and help you? How that you're doing? That sounds
Like live FaceTime. Be like, "Hey."
um so okay. So all right, looking back on all that awesome stuff, what's a big decision that you made that turned out to be a great choice?
Moving to LA.
Aha.
Oh
From where?
yeah, Portland, Oregon.
Aha.
First time I went to Portland was like 1998. I visited Burnside Skate Park. It was a DIY, one of the first that really catapulted this entire like global movement of DIY skate
Hmm.
parks. And so after visiting there, I just fell in love with the town. I mean, beautiful. Oregon is so beautiful. It's like breathtaking. And there's art, there's murals, and I grew up in Modesto area in California. Nothing. There's meth.
Oh.
There's meth. Like, and
Ew.
I was an artist. I was already doing art. Like, I wanted to be an actress. I did acting school, like in high school. And then I realized I didn't want to be an actress. I'm like, I just want to do art. And then I moved to Portland, found an art department, started working in the film industry on and off, between pizza jobs, and just totally fell in love with Portland and got super involved in the music scene there. I started volunteering at Public Access. So, and then I started doing interviews with all my favorite bands coming to town and also the local bands. And
Mm-hmm.
then I put together a heavy metal public access TV series.
Very cool.
I was running for about 10 years. And
Wow.
we started in like, I started in like, I don't know, '07 or something. So,
Gosh.
one of my first school projects was a documentary about me and my friends traveling 3,000 miles to see Manowar in my '86 Tercel hatchback.
Oh my gosh. That sounds so cute and adorable. And also, what 10 years of that? That is so much experience. You must be really fucking good at that.
Well, it took me like 15 years to get good.
Oh, wow.
Like, I mean, you're always good to a point because if maybe you're not so technically inclined, can you tell a story? You
Mm,
can use the most expensive, like $50,000 camera equipment and gear and all this fancy equipment. But if you can't tell a story,
hmm.
or if you film with your phone and you can tell a good visual story, like that's what, makes impact. That's what
Absolutely.
like connects with people. Is
Yeah,
this
totally.
So
There's
that's what I encourage too, like as the mentorship programs, like there's no rules. Like you literally can create like whatever you want. And that's cool.
that is cool. I think one of the most like fun to watch YouTube channels for me was when Angelina Vejera, who played bass for Cobra Spell for a while, was doing a like film diary about like her first, I think, like live show. And then like the label like surprised the girls and like sent a limo to pick them up to take them over to the stage, and like just the authenticity and excitement in it. And I'm pretty sure everything was just shot with her phone. I mean, the editing was really good. Like she did an amazing job, and I was like, she's not in that band anymore, but like honestly, like her being a part of that band made that band more interesting because of those like so heartfelt and authentic videos. So yeah,
Oh,
totally scrappy works best sometimes. There's another band that like has done recordings of their like demo singles just on their phone during their band practice. And I interviewed the guitarist and I was like, "What are you using for recording?" And she's like, "Just a phone." And I was like, "It sounds like a real 80s recording when they didn't have all the high-tech microphones and everything. And all these people are trying to get their music mixed to sound like 80s music, and really you just had to be scrappier because that's how those like early 80s metal bands from SoCal and wherever, that's how they did it. They were scrappy too, just like you were saying, grassroots, underground. So
Yeah, when you grow up and like kind of with no money, you just kind of figure shit out. Like it kind of helps us to become more creative, really, when you don't, have all this money to hire people or fancy graphics. And that's when you're like, oh, man, I could do some stop motion. And then it
yeah,
becomes awesome and like cool and
yeah.
like artistic or whatever. Or like with music too.
And if you work with, I just like personal opinion, if you work with anybody that's like really huge and has done a ton of like gigantic projects, like I don't know, like if you get a skit on SNL and you have to work with the SNL writers, like it's gonna, the flavor will be SNL. It won't be like yours. So I think when you like leave the scrappier zone and start working with like people, I don't know, too many cooks in a kitchen kind of thing for me. That's
Yeah.
just my opinion. It doesn't mean it's true.
Yeah. No, my band, I wrote all the songs. And then I got a drummer. He learned the music and we were playing as a two-piece for a minute and we got a bass player. And he rips, he skates. But John, it was actually one of the ex-Mentors drummers.
Oh,
His name was Viejo Malo, the satanic straight edge vegan.
oh, I love that for him.
That was his whole shtick. But he's cool. He's super good, like OG drummer. He like plays with the jazz style.
Oh, neat. Oh, tricky hand techniques there. Cool. That's cool. Straight edge is cool. Straight edge is cool as fuck. So,
Yeah, I don't think he's really straight edge. I think that's just his like because
uh,
all the words are like contradictory, like straight edge, satanic, vegan. Like what?
okay.
Like the satanic sacrifice goats, so you can't be vegan. Like, just these little funny, we're a bunch of dorks. That's what we are. But
Billy. Okay, but I want to know, what is your favorite gear or stage wear or skate gear that you own?
it's funny, I thought about this one. I think it'd have to be my high top Vans. Like, a good pair of shoes, like that's if you're wearing a bad pair of shoes while you're playing a show, you know what I mean? Like you got to feel like good on your feet, confident, like it's a tool. It's like a tool, just like having your guitar strap at the right level or length,
Mm,
And I
yeah,
just love like my high tops, like, even at the beach, I'll be like bikini high tops, high top
that's
Vans bikini.
that's so funny because when you said high tops, I was like, okay, she's answering the skate gear question, but no,
Yeah,
stage wear.
right?
Um, do you have any new announcements for us?
Um, let's see. Oh, well, new announcements. We're doing a world tour with the film.
Oh
So
my
this
gosh, yeah.
actually, yeah, it actually hasn't been officially announced yet, but we're doing a world tour with the film. We're starting in Helsinki, Finland in 2 weeks to save Suvalahti DIY. And then we're going to Spain. And I'm going to Spain just for kind of a skate session.
Mhm.
But we're gonna have just like a grassroots little screening at the skate park,
Ama-
and there might be an opportunity in June for Brazil.
Hmm.
There's Croatia is on the list of festivals, and we're talking about Canada and Beverly Hills in May. So we have a few things starting to like trickle in. So it's really exciting, but just like staying on top of everything. I'm like, okay, I gotta get organized. Like, here's my spreadsheet, just like
Mhm.
So
Cool. Wow. So that's also really interesting to hear about like how a world tour for a film can like come together the same way that like shows trickle in for a music world tour. Uh,
yeah, and I think it's easy-ish for me to plan because I have been on tour with bands. I have and myself, my own
mhm.
band, but I went on a US tour a few years ago. Last year I did a UK tour with a band documenting, so I'm familiar, and it's totally the same.
Oh
That's
wow.
what I love about it, like skateboarding, music, films, it's the same. Like you would book a film show just like you would a music show. It's
Wow, that is so interesting. Like when you're doing a film show, do you work with a promoter just like you do for like music? And do you have like are they concerned about draw? Like I actually have like more questions now. This is really interesting.
yeah. So being immersed in skateboarding my entire life, I think just also where you skate and how you skate, like you just find your family, right?
Hmm.
So I'm immersed in the skateboarding over there, even though I'm not over there. Everyone's like, "Oh, you need a place to stay. What do you need?"
Hmm.
So, and as far as a promoter, there are like press.
Hmm.
There's the promoter would be equivalent to like a press. I mean, you
Hmm.
can hire a promoter, but when you're doing a grassroots style, like I don't have money for a promoter,
Mhm.
funding for a promoter. But there's a whole list of press just lined up. I'm in contact with a Finnish journalist, Paulina, who's also a skateboarder, and she's awesome. And she's really helping us for promotion, but also the community over there. Like this film is being shown to help the community, to serve the
Mhm.
community. So
Yes.
really, I'm like, how can I be of service? Like,
Mhm.
how can I how can we leverage my film to help your cause? Like, I got your back,
Yeah,
US Skate Fam. I'm here. So whatever we can do.
that's
And
so interesting to hear about that process. And just like, yeah, I'm not sure like how many questions I can ask about that during this interview. I feel like I need to dig into like your music a little more.
yeah,
I guess
writing songs too. Sorry.
okay, yes. Tell us about some of the new songs.
Well, we have a few new songs. Since the first album was released in 2020, it was a little solo thrash album. And then my drummer hopped on board. Now we have a bass player. So we're writing a couple new songs, but right now we have 6 original songs. And I'm thinking about having a couple guitar guests.
Ugh.
So I'm not going to say anything. But well, one of my old guitar players, she rips. She lives down here now. She's from Portland. But
Ooh.
I was like, "Oh, you live down here now. Like, what's up? Let's collab."
Okay, well, I won't tell anybody who it is, but you should DM me her Instagram handle so I can get in touch for her.
She has some projects too. She's
Yeah. I need to
amazing.
know all the rock goddesses.
Oh
I
my
haven't
God,
checked them all.
the
Yes.
cat's out of the bag now. She was doing like Van Halen eruption in high school for her like show, like the theater, like
Mhm.
not show and tell, but what do they have?
A
I don't
talent
know,
show.
like talent show.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was doing like Van Halen eruption at the talent show in high school. I was like, who is this chick?
That's so, like, first of all, that's amazing that she could do that.
Yeah.
There's some sort of like high school synchronicity nonsense going on today because I got like a DM. I'm gonna tell you a funny story. I got a DM from a private profile that was like, "You were my first kiss in high school," and I'm like, I have no fucking idea who this is. And I was like, I don't want to think about high school.
Yeah, right?
But here's a high school story again today. So something all lined up there. Give us an embarrassing high school clip for yourself.
I know, right? Well, I was in a few sports growing up too, but I was just whatever, all over the place. But back to the guitar playing, like, because I don't do solos like Satan. You know what I mean? Like, I'm more rhythm, and I could do a few solos. Like I could do the third solo in Exodus Lesson in Violence, like the slower melodic one. And I have like a Gigi Allen solo, like, but I'm not, that's definitely the next level for me as far as guitar playing. Like I got some really good chunks and riffs and gallops, and I love like that grit, that heaviness.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I want to get more melodic into it. So I
Okay.
might be going that route a little bit with music.
Okay, that's
No,
exciting.
there's no rules, right?
Yeah, I'm excited to hear your style with like a new melodic angle. Um, so where can everyone listen to your music and how can we follow what you do?
Okay. So I mean, Spotify, YouTube, Bandcamp, Shoebox Jones, Shoebox
Mhm.
is on there. And Dream Evil Pictures on Instagram. That's my personal account. I use it for all I do, like filmmaking, music, art. Um, yeah, so rock and roll.
Yeah, awesome. That's perfect. Okay, so now we're just gonna end the show with a little game. I'm gonna hold up two pairs of vinyl. You'll pick one and tell us why you picked it. Burning Witches or Susie Quattro?
Susie Quattro.
Yeah, so I would have picked.
OG in the house.
Oh, gee, yes,
Yeah.
everything that Joan Jett wanted to be right here. Well, except for Joan Jett was on guitar and some bass, I guess. But yeah, the leather jumpsuit. Oh my gosh, look at that.
Oh,
Look.
look at this. I have some Finnish thrash metal right here.
Oh, can we listen to that on that
Yeah.
that
So
there thing out there?
So in Portland, I worked on Portlandia for season 3. I did art department. So I was in the warehouse every day. I'd bring in a backpack full of cassette tapes and just rock out and do art, whatever, was on the script. And so this was in the warehouse. And so I listened to it. And at the end of the season, they're like, you're the only one who comes in with cassette tapes and actually uses this. Like, just take it with you. And I'm like, no way. It's all like Montgomery Ward. It's cassette, vinyl, and 8-track.
It's crazy. It's literally magical.
Right? Party time.
Hands are in the air in a party way. Oh my gosh, the lights. The lights and the pink shag rug. The whole room is amazing.
It's probably hard to hear on the computer speaker, but it's kind of cool, huh?
It's so cool. I want one. That is amazing. I got to get a job at the Portlandia studio. Um,
I love your art. I love how it's in the background too.
thanks. It's like my studio is where my computer lives, so we're all here together. All right, round two. LA Witch or Girls School?
Ooh. I'm gonna pick LA Witch because I just found out about them when I moved to LA and they fucking rock.
Yes, kind of doomy. Um,
Yeah.
I think that they would be great on tour with Hoaxed and Lucifer, that and also
Ooh.
Castle Rat. Castle Rat.
Oh yeah. Oh, my friend got me a cassette tape, I think. Was it Castle Rat? I don't know, but I'm familiar.
Oh yeah, and I think I interviewed her last week, Riley the singer. So she's so nice and she's so pretty too. Oh my gosh. All right, Dolly Parton or Gladys Knight?
Ooh, Gladys Knight.
Right? I would have picked her Gladys Knight too.
Yeah. I love those oldies.
Yes.
I like
And
everything.
something that I think is like really easy to overlook about Gladys Knight for people like our age and younger is that it was Gladys Knight and the Pips. She was the woman was in the front of the band, and the doo-wop harmony singers were the men. And like, I don't think that people think about that a lot, that she flipped it on its head when she did that because it was always a guy singing in the front with like 3 women in matching outfits behind him dancing and stuff. And she was like, nope, it's Gladys Knight and the Pips. So
Shut up, shut up, Pip. Yeah. No, dude, that's rad because not that was very rare back then.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. And those, people who really just carved their own path and just like really just went for it, or just really, even no matter how small or big, it's just really inspiring because I think of what's worse, some people maybe are afraid to try, but what's
Mm,
worse than getting rejected or maybe failing is regret. That's worse, when you're beating
yeah.
yourself up because you didn't even try.
And
So I'm like, you know what? The answer is already no if you don't try, so you might as well.
there, yep, true words never spoken. I'll also say that like so many of us in rock, metal, and punk um are totally in love with a band that never took off. Like there's some band that you listen to all the time. Like for me, like there's like some of Jinx's least known songs with Coven are like something that I listen to almost every day. And like she probably doesn't think that that song or that production or whatever was a success. But like in our community, it always is those obscure rare jewels that we treasure so much. And so like if you're worried that like you're going to make something and like barely sell 200 vinyl, don't worry about it. Like that doesn't mean it's not a jewel. It almost promises that it is one.
Yeah.
So get out there, people. So
Yeah.
Eurythmics or Vanity. And if you don't know Vanity, that's okay because nobody does. So I'll tell you about it.
Okay, yeah. Tell me about Vanity, but I love your
So,
that's I picked Vanity.
okay, so Vanity, gorgeous, gorgeous woman. This was a Prince project, and he like wanted her to sing exactly like he does, but she didn't write the songs. So the songs are all kind of weird. They're like things that a woman would never say or sing. But it's like it was music. There's like going out music, like Black Eyed Peas is definitely going out music, and like it's just like hype music. Um, so it's like a man writing girls going out hype music, but he's doing it from his perspective, and so it's just like totally like impossible to relate to it. And but it's really interesting to hear a woman sing exactly in the intonation of Prince because then you realize that Prince was always actually trying to just sound like a woman. So, but nobody's probably surprised about that.
That's awesome. I bet it sounds sick.
You got to check it out. This Vanity, there were a couple albums actually. I think I have two of them. Just don't read the lyrics and then it's like more fun.
Yeah, I know.
So, Grace Slick or Shaka Khan?
Ooh. Tell me about Grace Slick. I don't know.
Oh, my pleasure. So,
What? I don't
did
know.
somebody hear you
Yeah.
say
I was like, do I? I don't know. I'm trying to.
um well now you and your friend can bust out some Grace Slick for that awesome machine you have. So Grace Slick sang for Jefferson Airplane. When
Okay.
Jefferson Airplane lost Grace Slick, they changed their name to Jefferson Starship, and then Grace Slick would rejoin later and they changed their name to Starship. So she had the 60s hits Don't You Want Somebody to Love and White Rabbit. So you know her music. Um,
Yeah.
but her solo career. This album, I believe, was released March 13th, 1979. And there's a song on it called Angel of the Night that is such a heavy metal song. It is so ahead of its time. And people like do not know that Grace Slick was like a heavy metal vocalist. I mean, like, Jinx was already writing music and recording and touring in 1969, so she's still definitely the first. But Grace Slick, yeah. And this album is so weird. Like she goes into these songs like El Diablo that is like she just took us on she got drunk in Spain and then she wrote a song about it. That's what that sounds like. But the opening one, Dreams, is like a song about like a kind of dark circus. But yeah, Angel of the Night is it. And oh my god, there's a song on it called Do It the Hard Way that's like a criticism of um well, other women really. So I don't know. It's not that great, but anyway,
Sick.
you're gonna love it. Grace Slick is so great. She is so great. And so she famously said this thing where she was like, "You can't be like 50 on Sugar Mountain." So she like wanted to end her career as a musician when she was young, which she didn't need to do, but someone got in her head and told her that she wasn't valuable after a certain age. It just sounds like the patriarchy to me. And anyway, so when she stopped recording music, she became a painter. And I like was like, wow, what does Grace Slick paint? So I went on her website and the paintings were actually very affordable. They were like less than $1,000. And I was like, oh, I wonder if I should buy one. But they were all paintings of like Alice in Wonderland characters and they were really fucking bad. And I was like, nah, even though Grace Slick made it, I cannot like spend like a couple $100s on this. So then after the pandemic, because the contemporary art market just like blew up for a couple years during the pandemic. Now it's all collapsing again, but it it during like after the pandemic, I went and looked at them again because I thought, you know what, maybe I really should buy a Grace Slick painting. And they were all like thousands and thousands, like tens of thousands of dollars. And I was like, well, missed my window of opportunity. But yeah, they were
Wow.
awful. They were awful paintings. So, but I love her.
When you said her name, it sounded familiar, but I couldn't put my finger on it. But I chose it too because of dreams, and I love fantasy. That's why I
Oh,
love Dio so much because he's so in the fantasy realm. Like a lot of my artwork is fantasy. Like, oh, if you see that, it's like a feather, like a
oh,
hand holding a feather.
yeah, bring it over here.
I mean, it's a work in progress, but
But you're already so much better than Grace Slick.
but
No,
not
actually, I do really like it though. I'm serious though. I really do like it.
my own style, but it's like doing some trippy shit.
Cool. Make sure to send a picture of it to me when you're done. That's awesome. Oh, now I have more questions. Like, do you make prints and like where do you like to share your work and do you like to do exhibits? And now I have to have you on for a whole nother episode after you come back from touring with your film.
Yeah, I do art shows here and there. In a lot of times downtown LA, there's a couple spots that will have me. There's the whole like first Thursday art walk here in San Pedro. So, it's just kind of something I do. It's also a really good like meditation tool.
Mm.
I do
Yeah.
so it's really important for me to stay like cognitively focused
Mm-hmm.
and meditation is really important for mental high performance. It's really and crazy to juggle all of these things, but I
Yeah.
do it well, and I think it has to do with like painting or meditation or hiking.
Mm-hmm.
I go hiking once a week, even if it's for like 15 minutes. Get outside, get moving, and it's so good for focus with this
Amazing.
digital age.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I've had to be like on some Instagram breaks and stuff.
Oh
The
yeah, I have to. I've been practicing discipline with that. So
Yeah, it gets pretty easy. You get pretty addicted to not looking at it, but then you know that a bunch of people are trying to reach you, and then you're like, "Oh man, better get to work."
business calls, killing business, and business is good.
Yes. Well, that is all for today, but I would love to have you on the show again. If you ever have anything you want to announce or you want to rally people for anything that you're working on, please let me know. Please reach out.
Rad. Yeah, thanks for having me and thanks for doing what you do. I know how much goes into it and it's a whole process. So fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah,
Rock
you too.
on,
You're awesome.
Sister of Steel.
Yes. Forge to the chains.